Right, let's go ahead now and look at some other elements of the invoice screen. You will notice that on this particular screen we have an insert row icon. That only exists on invoices that I am editing. It does not exist on a new invoice. If I click this here to create a new invoice, you're going to notice that insert row does not exist. If you're going along and you're creating a very in-depth invoice and you might be inserting 30 lines in this particular area for whatever it is you're doing, and you suddenly decide that you actually want to insert another line somewhere at say line 2 or 3, there's no way of doing that because you can't actually insert a line here. It continues on. Once you've continued to the next line, you've entered something, it's too late. You can't go back. But there is a way. So if you're creating an invoice and you suddenly get down the bottom and you go, oh, geez, I wish I had have put this at line 2 instead of down here at line 10, because you've created the guts of the invoice already, just exit it. Just click finish and exit the invoice. So then, I'm just going to abort this because this is nothing on this screen. So then when you click finish, you come back to here, you can go, okay, where's the invoice I was just creating? Oh, this is it here. I can now edit the invoice. Go back now and edit it as if you're editing. And the moment you do that, you will see you can actually insert a row. So just to let you know that the insert row only exists on invoices that you are editing. It seems strange, but that's the only way that I've been told that EasyAs could accomplish this. This was a request that they received from a client, and they could see some value in it. So they achieved this by inserting it on invoices that you edit, not invoices that you're just creating. So all it takes is just click finish, jump out, go out, re-edit the invoice, and you're back in here. This is going to save a lot of time. So what happens when I click that icon? As soon as I click the icon, it comes up with the insert icon here. If I click it again, it turns it off. See that? Turn it on, turn it off. So now I can go ahead and say, well, I actually want to insert the row here. So if I click insert, it jumps away and it does a few things and it comes back. Now you will see when it says new line, see that inserted a line there. So now I can go ahead and I can enter whatever it is I wanted to enter. Maybe it wasn't anything particular. Maybe it was just, please note, it might have been that. See, it could have been anything. All I wanted to really point out was that you can insert a row wherever you want, and you can insert as many as you want. If I keep pressing insert here, it's going to insert a new line whenever I press that. Do you see that? So as I first press it, you see it inserts it here, and it goes off and does a bit of screen flickers there as it inserts the row for you. So you can insert as many as you want, as often as you want. To turn it back off, I just click it again and that icon disappears and we're back to whatever we normally see on the screen. That's a really great feature. Now I'm just going to delete some of these rows because I actually don't want them. I'm going to delete this line here too because I don't actually want that sitting there. Right, now I'm going to jump up the top here and I want to discuss and talk about this here. Actually, I won't. I'm going to finish off this bit down the bottom. I'm going to discuss this here. Full price. What is the full price calculator? This is going to help those clients who, such as this guy, this maintenance person, he might be out on a job, he might be talking to a customer and they go, hey, look Charlie, I have this garden shed over here and I want to have a new slab poured in this location. I want the garden shed moved. What would you charge me for that? And Charlie sits there and says, oh, he plucks the figure out of his head. It's going to cost you $450 for me to do that for you. Can you come back and do that for me next week? And does that include sales tax? Yes, sales tax is included on the price. So here we go. Charlie's just plucked a figure out of his head. He's gone ahead and he's gone, now how am I going to calculate sales tax? Because sales tax is normally added on after the fact. So if he's given this client a price of $450, he's got to add sales tax on after. So whatever the sales tax percentage is applicable in your country, it's normally added after. So he should be charging the client $450 plus sales tax. So because he said no, that included sales tax, all he has to do is click this full price calculator. He starts to create a new invoice for the client. He clicks the full price calculator, enters in exactly what the amount is, enters in the rate of sales tax, whatever it might be in your country. I'm just going to put 10% to make it easy. And then I'm going to click OK. And you'll notice then it comes up here with 409. So what that is if I'm going to prove to you that was the case. If I enter $409.09 and I press enter, that's because I'm trying to work out why wasn't that right. It's because I've gone 490 cents. $409.90. It's not. It's $409. $409.09. Okay, now that's right. See, that's now come up with 450. So it's exactly the figure it was meant to be. So this just provided us with whatever the figure should be here. Instead of you getting out a calculator and trying to work all this out, it does it for you. So that's a really great little tool there to help a lot of subcontractors when they're trying to work things out. Now, there is a help icon here, I think, and this talks about how to use that anyway. Right, jump up to the top here. If you have a look up here, most of this here is pretty well self-explanatory. Here, if this particular invoice belongs to a particular project group, you can add it to the project group by clicking this and selecting the project group. I've discussed these previously, but I'm also going to create a completely separate video for project groups because there's a bit more information involved here, and if you want to know more about it, look for that particular video. But basically, I've discussed the project groups in previous videos, and I think they're pretty well self-explanatory. Now, the accounts receivable, you're only going to see information here if this particular invoice is assigned to an accounts receivable customer. So if you've created an invoice from an accounts receivable client, you're going to see information here. If you don't use accounts receivables, if you're not doing work for people and allowing them to have credit, then you're not going to use this ever. Nothing's ever going to appear here because that's not your type of business. So with Easy As, a lot of these areas in the program you can skip. If you don't use accounts payable, if you don't use accounts receivable, don't go anywhere near them. You don't need them, don't go into them. It's irrelevant for you. Right, up here, this area here, a lot of people are going to use this. If, say, you are issuing a client, like this particular client here, Mr. Maintenance Services Jude, he does lawn mowing for some of his clients. Now he says, okay, once a month you can pay me. So at the end of the month, he issues them an invoice, and he says, I've done X, Y, Z for you over the month, and he says, I'm going to give you 14 days to pay. So if I type the number 14 here, it calculates 14 on top of whatever that date is. So if I enter 14, and I press enter, it's now said that the due date is the 1st of August. It's added 14 days to here, and it says you've got 14 days to pay, and that due date is the 1st of August. Now, you don't have to use that if you don't want to. You could naturally click in this box and select the date. But, of course, if you know you're issuing 14 days, it's so much easier just to enter 14 and have it do that. Okay, now you will notice, see how that's a red calendar? It's the same as this one, but if I click in that box, it diverts to this one. That's because when you click in the box, it allows you to select. If you're not in the box, it allows you to add to the inbuilt calendar. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. When you click in any date box in the program, it allows you to select a date from the calendar system to enter into this box. But for the invoices, if you're not on that box, you can now add this invoice, this information directly to your calendar, because what happens is this, in your calendar there, you can enter, if I click calendars here, if I just jump into the calendar, here you can enter invoices that are coming up. So over morning when you jump into your accounting system, you can quickly look at the calendar from the main menu and look at it and go, okay, are there any invoices due today? Are there any payments that I should have received which I actually haven't received? So you can look at the date and go on the 19th here, there's nothing here to be received because the red is the actual date today. So okay, but these are the invoices coming up and these are the due dates over here. So if you click this now, it will instantly add that to the 1st of August. And I'll prove that to you. So it'll be invoice 1008. If I click this, see it said done? It added this to the 1st of August. So when you open up the program on the 1st of August, if you quickly look at your dates, you'll notice that I'm going to change this to August. On the 1st of August, I have an invoice due. So it's invoice 1008. So I can actually now go to my invoice screen. We've come back here because this is where we were, but you can come back to your invoice screen there, find invoice number 1008 and have a look at what it was. What is due today? So that's what that line's for. I'm going to have to exit out of this video and come back to a new one because I've run out of time.